With Talking Scuba today, I've been asked to explain how to set up the Suunto Eon Core for multiple tanks. And by multiple tanks, I mean, as I have here, my independent twin set, which I have on my back. You could have a twin set side mounted, or perhaps you have a pony cylinder with a lower nitrogen content for decompression, or you might, for example, have a side slung 3 litre cylinder, again with a low nitrogen level for your decompression stop. Now, one problem with the Suunto is that it cannot display multiple tanks. It can't show you 2 tanks. You can't, for example, label tank left, tank right, tank A, tank B, tank 1, tank 2. You can't do that. But what you can do is you can tell it which gas is in each cylinder. And if you work out how to do it, you can display the tank gas on your screen while you're diving. So what I do is, although I've got Nitrox 32 in both tanks, I tell my Suunto that I have Nitrox 31 in my left tank and Nitrox 32 in my right tank, even though both of my tanks have the same gas, Nitrox 32. Now, this doesn't make any difference to your Suunto, because when I'm blending my gas, I can't get it that much closer than 1 point. By the time the gas has cooled down and I've done a little air top up, my gas is anywhere between 31 and 33. Typically it's close to 32, but it's never that accurate. I should add that not all my dives are on Nitrox 32, but if I want a different depth and a different gas mix, I would have the odd number on my left tank, Nitrox 25 on my left, Nitrox 26 on my right, for example. And you can see from my setup here that I have tank pods attached. Now, you don't need to have tank pods attached to do this. I personally prefer to see my tank pressure displayed on my dive computer. And this way, when I switch tanks and switch gases, I also display the pressure in the tank that I'm breathing from. And you can see here the tank bar circle on the top right hand side is showing 92 bar, and below that it's indicating Nitrox 31. And if you've been paying attention, you will know now that that is my left tank that we're looking at. So during the dive, when I swap regulators, I tell my Suunto not that I've changed tanks, but that I've changed gases. Having effectively changed tanks, I glance down at my SPG and make sure that both the SPG and my dive computer are reading the same. If at any time I switch to the compass, then I'll like the timer to show below it. If I change the view on the Suunto to either the compass or the timer, then the little display at the bottom changes, obviously. But when I revert back to tank pressure, then the nitrox indicator at the bottom will always tell me which tank I'm on. So to move to my right tank, i.e. change the gas to Nitrox 32, and when you select Nitrox 32, it gives you the tank information. By pushing the select button, the Nitrox 32 is indicated by the white dot there. Going back to the screen, it's now showing 32 on the bottom with a tank pressure of 63 bar. And as usual, I check my right hand SPG to see that they're both reading the same, and in this case they are. And swiftly moving back to my left tank, showing Nitrox 31 with a tank bar pressure of 92, I'm going to show you what happens as the tank pressure decreases and how the Suunto behaves. I've preset a minimum tank pressure of 50 bar, and I think that's normal on most dive computers. And as the pressure decreases, you see the nitrox indicator at 31 remains the same. That is until the computer goes into an alarm state once you've reached 50 bar. And both indicators will flash red until you acknowledge the alarm, and the tank bar indicator at the bottom reverts back to nitrox. This isn't something you want to see too often, but it's nice to know what actually does happen should the occasion arise. And the same thing happens on the right hand tank, where the nitrox indicator will be indicating 32. When the tank pressure goes red, so will the nitrox indicator. And once you've pushed one of the silver buttons on the right to acknowledge that you've seen the alert, the nitrox indicator will return on the bottom and go back to your 32. And that just about sums it up. I've been diving like this now with 2 individual tanks for 2 seasons. I started with 1 tank on my back and I carried a 7-litre side slung just to extend my dive time. But that just became too unwieldy, so I ended up putting 2 on my back. I will soon be talking about why I dive independent twins as opposed to manifolded twins, but that's for another day. In the meantime, if you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll get back to you. Or you could click the subscribe button and I'll let you know when I post another video up here. But whatever you do, keep diving and keep safe.